As we get to early May, it's not a bad time to look at the potential free agency picture for the Devils and what could happen for them on July 1st when the open market does open, and Ray Shero and company try to improve their team from the outside to bring a few guys in to help them make that next step from where they were this year to get into the postseason and maybe help them be a more competitive team if and when they do get there a year from now. A lot of names are going to be thrown around. Ray Shero is going to have a lot to go through, big and small names, but we're going to talk about the three names today that a lot of fans have talked about in terms of big name guys that could or could not come to New Jersey and would certainly help them. And we'll talk about why or why not they would be a good fit for the team. We'll start with the one who I think does make the most sense for them, and that's defenseman John Carlson. The current Washington Capital could be a free agent if he doesn't re-sign there before July 1. And he's a great two-way defenseman, can play the power play, can play big defensive minutes too. A guy kind of like Sami Vatanen that can play those big minutes that the Devils don't really have outside of Vatanen. And he'd make that group a lot better and a kind of a needed improvement for the blue line. Another guy, another New Jersey native, kind of like Carlson, would be James Van Riemsdyk, the forward from the Toronto Maple Leafs. He'll be an unrestricted free agent on July 1st as well. A big name scorer. He can put up the points and maybe give them some of that secondary scoring that they didn't always have this year outside of Taylor Hall. Another reliable threat on the power play. He does a lot of his damage there. And I think he could be another good depth addition that wouldn't be maybe break the bank, maybe like the next guy that we're going to talk about in John Tavares from the Islanders. If he doesn't return to New York this summer, he's definitely going to be the biggest name on the market, and he's a guy that probably could command maybe $10 million a year salary. While the Devils have the cap space to go after him and make that kind of deal work in the short term, I think it doesn't really make sense for them to kind of tie themselves down with that big of a deal when you are going to have to use some money to re-sign Taylor Hall, to re-sign Nico Hischier, some other guys when they're free agents in a few years from now. And kind of like Ray Shero said, when you lose cap space, it's very difficult to get it back. So while he's certainly incredibly talented, he'd make any team better, certainly make the Devils better. I think he's not in the cards for the Devils at this point.